I think the biggest problem we have in life is getting people to want what we have to offer. Uh, Gary needs people to purchase his services in order to make a living. And God has spirit, whatever you want to call it, the universe, has set it up so that our spiritual and physical needs are interwoven. And just yesterday, I picked up a book by the Dalai Lama, and he mentioned that every day we've got to do at least one thing to serve another being. Now, sometimes we're not in a position to do that, to give them what they need, which you did as a waiter, which Gary may do as an electrical contractor, as the rest of us do as however we make a living. And basically he said, sometimes you can't serve somebody. It simply isn't available. And he said, but at least do no harm. Now that's the first thing in the physician's oath, do no harm. And that can be really hard for a lot of people around us to do. I think Americans in general are very good at complaining. We have so much goodness around us. We have to look hard to find the little thing that we think isn't perfect at the moment. And we do complain about it. I just want all of us to be aware that we are serving, and if we aren't, we should be. And why are we so reluctant to do what we're supposed to do, which is essentially to act like God, to act out the divinity within us? If you think about Jesus, he did it by serving. And that's our duty here on earth, to help everyone else locate the divinity within them by serving them an opportunity to find it. So there we are. I'll stop. That's it. I just thought you did it really well with the analogies that you used. Thank you for it.
Thank you, Anne. Yeah, I see that, as we talk about like this shift in consciousness, a shift in the collective, mind of humanity. What I envision is that we're moving away from that idea of competition into, like I need to get more and more and more. And that's how I prove that, to the world that I'm worthy. And instead recognize that we are all in this together. And if I know that I'm coming from that place and I'm seeing that I'm interacting with somebody else of that same divine nature, then we come up with ways that are win-win that situations. Instead of competition, we're switching to cooperation. And I think that's an intention. And when we are able to live by that example and demonstrate that there's benefit, I forget if it was Bob or you, Anne, that was talking about like bringing in all aspects of ourselves. So it's mind, body, and spirit. So if we're always just out there on mind and body, doing the rat race, providing for ourselves, and we're not bringing that spirit in, then we're out of balance. But as soon as we bring that spirit in, then we shift into this way of empathy and recognizing that instead of trying to get as much as I can right now, that I want to provide equal or greater value to that from which I receive. We create this whole new dynamic. And I really see that, beginning to take hold more and more. It's just going to take a while until we get out of that old mindset. But I think, each person that wakes up and starts to bring that divine to everything that they do, that it's a model for others, that other people, it's, you know, becomes contagious. I don't have to try to shift, you know, tell others what they need to do, but I can lead by example. And it rubs off. Like places that I've worked, I've seen it when I see others that have a similar mindset. Maybe they don't call it the same. Maybe they're not saying that I'm coming from spirit, but they're doing the same thing that I'm doing. I can see it in their actions. I've been able to work with some wonderful people, and it creates this atmosphere to where other people that don't have that attitude, that are unhappy about where they're at, and it gets uncomfortable for them to be around people that are acting differently, that are acting from a place of like heart and soul. And so it's either those people either drift away for one reason or another, or they shift themselves. And so I think that's how we just make this shift. My prayer partner had a friend who used this quote: when you practice what you preach, you no longer have to preach. Because it's in your doing that your message gets across.